The moment the true heiress returned, the fake one staged a dramatic fall down the stairs, instantly framing her. Immediately, the family rushed over, not to check for injuries, but to viciously curse the real daughter, Lin Si-wong. Her own mother, with eyes full of disappointment, called her a heartbreak, while her father condemned her as vile and malicious. But Lin Si-wong was no ordinary girl. She was a top student from Shanxi province, whose only dream was to get into a prestigious university. Her life's goal was simple: to secure a Beijing household registration, ace the college entrance exam, and become a civil servant. But with a score of 650, she couldn't even make the top 1,000 in her competitive province, let alone get into her dream school. Just as despair set in, a shocking truth turned her world upside down. She was the long-lost daughter of a wealthy Beijing family. Her friend warned her, just like in novels, the family would surely favor the fake heiress, who had been with them for 18 years. Upon her arrival, the family's hostility was palpable. The mother coldly stated that the fake heiress, Ji, was the daughter she had raised for 18 years. The second brother threatened that if Lin Si-wong dared to cross Ji, they would kick her out the moment she turned 18. Even the eldest brother warned her not to cause trouble, making it clear she was an outsider. Lin Si-wong scoffed at their pathetic display of power. She had no time for their games. Her precious time was better spent solving practice problems. The family's first move was to humiliate her. The butler, on their orders, handed her a list of house rules meant for servants. The rules were absurd, dictating everything from how to address the master to preparing his 45-degree foot bath. Seeing their plan fail, the father quickly backpedaled, blaming the butler. But Si-wong saw her chance. To make amends, she demanded one thing: to attend the same elite school as Ziyi. This infuriated the family, who felt Ziyi was being wronged. The fake heiress played the victim, claiming she would leave the family. The brothers immediately jumped to her defense, creating a chaotic scene of false drama that Si-wong found utterly ridiculous. Ignoring their theatrics, she simply began reciting classical texts aloud, drowning out their nonsense with her studies. When the family tried to guilt her into getting along with Jie, Si-wong coolly replied that she had no power in the house. Jie controlled everything. The family united against her, calling her heartless and cruel for forcing the crying Jie to leave. Si-wong calmly dismantled their hypocrisy. She pointed out that she was the true victim, abandoned in an orphanage, while Jie was a beneficiary of a crime. Realizing it was pointless to argue with fools, she simply stated she was tired and wanted to go to her room to rest. Even choosing a room became a stage for drama. Jie offered her own room, a classic green tea, moved to appear generous. The family praised Jie's kindness, which only reminded Si-wong of the genuine love she'd lost from her grandmother. Refocusing on her goal, the hukou, the exam, and financial independence, she brushed off their attempts to manipulate her. She rejected Ji's room, telling her to stop putting on a show for things she wasn't willing to give up, and chose a quiet room upstairs, perfect for studying. At her new school, the director, influenced by Ji's slander, immediately dismissed Si-wong as a poor student and sent her to the regular class. He warned her not to disturb the harmonious top-tier class, which was clearly just a clique for the privileged. Her new classmates, hearing she was from Shanxi province, mocked her as a try-hard who still couldn't make it. Unbothered, Si-wong found the perfect seat near the teacher, ready to immerse herself in her studies. Before the big mock exam, the family continued their psychological warfare. She patronizingly told her not to be discouraged if she couldn't keep up. She even suggested Si-wong should just focus on the easy questions, a backhanded insult disguised as advice. The second brother mocked her again, sneering that she'd be lucky not to come in last place. But when the exam paper was in her hands, Si-wong knew it was her time to shine. This was the moment to show them the power of a student, forged in the fires of the toughest competition. She was a Shanxi province powerhouse, a relentless study machine who rose at 5 and slept at 1. This was her hunting ground. After the exam, the family celebrated Jie for barely passing the university threshold while completely ignoring Si-wong. Jie lied to them, claiming Si-wong did poorly and was too ashamed to come to dinner. She played the benevolent sister, saying it was her fault for not tutoring Si-wong enough, earning praise for her kindness. Upstairs, Jie dropped the act, confronting Si-wong, but she was shocked to learn Si-wong's real score, a staggering 719. Furious, Jie threatened her, claiming the family's love and inheritance would always be hers. This led to the confrontation on the stairs. Cornered and exposed, Jie resorted to her only weapon, self-victimization. She threw herself down the stairs, and the family, like trained puppets, immediately turned on Si-wong, refusing to even consider checking the surveillance footage. They blindly accepted Jie's feigned concussion, with the second brother vowing to make Si-wong pay for every tear his sister shed. While they rushed the perfectly fine Jie to the hospital, Si-wong was left alone in the mansion, where she calmly sat down and enjoyed the grand feast prepared for the celebration. As she savored every dish, she mused that this was the reward for being framed by Su Jiyi. The family's punishment was petty. The next morning, they dismissed all the staff, leaving no food for Si-wong to teach her a lesson. She lectured the butler on the importance of nutrition for a top student, explaining how a drop in her grades could cause the sky to fall. The butler was speechless. Finding the kitchen empty, she decided that spiritual food, her textbooks, would have to suffice. But her luck turned when Gao Yan, the handsome neighbor and Jie's crush, offered her a ride and breakfast, having been asked by his parents to look after her. A celebration was held for Jie's return from the hospital, to which the Gao family was also invited. The Siu family planned to celebrate Jie's mediocre score. At the dinner, the Su father boasted about Ji barely passing the line, while patronizingly telling Si Wang not to be discouraged by her poor results. When Si Wang let out a small laugh at their ignorance, the brothers exploded, accusing her of being jealous and having no manners. It was Gao Yan who spoke up, revealing to the stunned family that Si Wang's scores were, in fact, excellent. Just as Si Wang was about to reveal her score, a call came from the school director. The father, eager to show off, put it on speaker. The director, whose uncle was a tax bureau chief the father was desperate to connect with, first confirmed Ji's mediocre score. Then, he angrily questioned why Ji had lied to him, claiming Si Wang was a bad student. The phone call ended, and with it, the father's precious connection to the tax bureau. The room fell into a dead, awkward silence. The family's world imploded. Ji started another dramatic apology, which ended with a wine bottle smashing and injuring the second brother. Amid the chaos, Si Wang simply put on her headphones, remarking that she had great material for an essay about a chaotic play. The father's attitude shifted 180 degrees. He now saw Si Wang as a valuable asset and tried to push her towards Gao Yan for a potential marriage alliance. Disgusted by his opportunism, Si Wang's only request was to move into the school dormitory, away from the toxic environment that was disrupting her studies. When her parents came to the school to force her home, even threatening to revoke her Beijing hukou, they were met with a formidable opponent. The school director, who now saw Si Wang as the school's only hope for a top scorer, personally intervened, furiously protecting his star student. He berated the parents for disrupting her studies and reminded them of his connection to the tax bureau, sending them scurrying away in fear. Si Wang had proven that when you are powerful enough, the whole world will stand behind you, making her parents' supposed love utterly worthless. Their next plan was to send Ji to deliver nutritious meals at school, a pathetic attempt to create a public image of a loving family. But Ji's arrogant delivery was mistaken for bullying by Si Wang's classmates, who promptly defended their goddess of studying, humiliating Ji once again. The final exam approached. Si Wang was touched when her best friend from the orphanage, Qing Qing, came to Beijing to take care of her, providing the genuine love the Su family never could. Ji, however, made one last desperate attempt at sabotage, trying to lock Si Wang in an empty building before the exam. But Si Wang, always a step ahead, turned the tables and locked the screaming Ji in the room instead, wishing her good luck. After the exam, the results were out. Ji had barely scraped past the minimum score. When they called Si Wang, they couldn't see her score. Ji mockingly suggested she forgot to put her name on the paper. Soon, the news broke. Lin Si Wang was the city's top scorer, the Zhuangyuan. Her interview was broadcast everywhere. The father, seeing a massive par opportunity, eagerly agreed to Si Wang's condition. The official interview would be held not in their lavish mansion, but in her hometown. The family arrived dressed in designer clothes, a stark contrast to the humble surroundings of the orphanage Si Wang had chosen as the location. The father hijacked the interview, turning it into a commercial for his company and praising his other outstanding children. She introduced the orphanage director and her friends as her true family, attributing all her success to them and her late grandmother without mentioning the Siu family once. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. The public turned on the Su family. Their company's stock plummeted, and they were besieged by angry reporters. The Su clan's main branch intervened. To control the damage, they stripped the father of his position and officially expelled Sushi from the family. The family completely shattered. The eldest brother, now that Ji was no longer his sister, confessed his twisted incestuous love for her, horrifying everyone. In the following years, their fates were sealed. The father married Ji off to an abusive old man for business. The second brother was crippled trying to save her. 5 years later, Lin Si Wang, now the successful CEO of her own company, returned. She coolly walked into the Su family's office. She was there for one reason: to acquire their failing company. The father, a broken man, begged her to leave them some shares. She had achieved her ultimate victory, not through their love, but with her own strength, proving that destiny was a battle she was always meant to win.